Good morning, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Let's unlock the tricks of the trade, get to know the brilliant minds who changed their industries and created innovations that continue to influence lives. Be inspired here on Trade Talks, Mai Milyonaryo. Summer is almost over, but if you want to make a final adventure trip that's just a few hours from Manila, head over to Clark in Pampanga and visit Deca Wakepark, a premier sports venue in the Philippines. Aside from wakeboarding, it features several outdoor facilities, restaurants, and a hostel. Let's find out more about the park. We'll be speaking with Carlo Dela Torre. He's the CEO and operator of Deca Wakepark and Homies Trading Incorporated. Good morning, Silo.
Thank you, Mai, for having me on the show.
Good to have you here. You're also the coach of the Philippine national team and a multi-awarded athlete.
Yes, that's normally how things get started in our industry. So we start as a participant, let's say as a hobbyist, and then level things up into an athlete, and then next thing you know, you're a business owner and taking care of the next generation of athletes trying to bring glory to the country.
Good to know. You've been doing this for 30 plus years.
Yes.
Tell us why wakeboarding, why cable wakeboarding at that? Did it pick you or you picked it?
Well, I've always been interested in alternative sports, really. I think our generation throughout the 80s and 90s were really exposed to alternative activities, you know, not normally, say, the basketball or the football that your parents would want to get into. You know, I was exposed to skateboarding very early on, and I do believe maybe wakeboarding, at the end of the day, picked me instead of me picking it.
How old were you?
I was about 12 years old. This dates me. So this goes all the way back to 1992. So obviously, there was no wakeboarding yet here in the Philippines during that period. I actually learned when I was still living in Bangkok years and years ago.
Is wakeboarding for everyone? Can anyone try it out?
Yes, absolutely. Like, so in our facility, we have our pro lake all the way down to the beginner lake, right? So these are two separate pulling systems that caters to all skill levels as well as ages. So, you know, just as an example, over the summer, the youngest riders that we would have in the park were about 4 to 5 years old.
Wow.
And then the oldest one we have on catalog is actually 73 years old.
73?
Yes. So,
well, it seems you don't age in this sport, right?
No, it's actually a little bit of a misconception. Like, when you think of an alternative sport, you're just thinking X Games and death-defying. But there are levels to the game naman. You can apply yourself to where your skill level is at. And that's really the name of the game, you know. It's about the longevity, having fun, enjoying it, and using it as a form of exercise talaga.
Well, when branded as an extreme sport, how dangerous is it?
There are definitely some risks, just like risks with you crossing the street. There are common accidents kasi lumilipad ka talaga dito sa wakeboarding.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive when you watch it in person. People, my athletes, you know, like mga atletang Pilipino, lumilipad yan, mga 20 feet in the air. So, usually mistakes happen, injuries happen when you are just simply not prepared or overextending yourself in the activity, you know. So, kung masyado kang matapang, di mo talaga pinag-isipan yung kailangan mong gawin, or di ka nakatulog the night before, you know, it's just like typical athlete stuff. You need to be absolutely ready when in participating
and 100%
like
in the game,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
I've seen the stunts. I've been to the wake park. It's amazing what they do. Yeah.
Yes, we're very happy with it. Like a lot of those people that you did see at the park at that time are Philippine national team riders. What we're proud to say of too is we're actually some of the best in the planet currently. One of our riders, Rafael Trinidad, we've currently sent over to the US right now, is doing additional training over there. But Rafael Trinidad is technically #2 in the planet right now.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so you're also a multiple SEA Games medalist, Asian champion pro, national pro, so
Yes.
many times already, and the most recent, Asia Oceania veteran men's champ just this year, 2025.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So this was really a very, very big event for us. The biggest event prior to that was probably the Southeast Asian Games in 2019, which we also did really well. But this one now, it's a bigger region. This is Asia and Oceania. That's Kazakhstan all the way to all the smaller islands down here where New Zealand is at. This was probably the best event for me personally as a coach because we were able to put together a team that really represented yung buong Pilipinas talaga. So we had representatives from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. If we want to get specific into that, we had riders from Davao, we had riders from Iloilo, Quirino, Camarines Sur, Batangas, Manila, Pampanga. So sarap talaga
Yeah.
to see that
The community is getting bigger.
the community
Yeah.
is bigger, and not only is the community getting bigger, but this is translating into talent that can really, really highlight the talent of the Filipino.
Saan ba pinaka-popular ang wakeboarding?
I would say, well, right now, like, there's about maybe 600, 700 cable parks worldwide. In the Philippines, we have about 6 full-size cable parks. Thailand has about 10. But the most famous would probably be a tie between France and Germany. So they clock in at about 150 cable parks
Yeah.
for their countries talaga.
Yeah. How was your first time as on a wakeboard?
It was not that great, actually.
I think we all fall, di ba? How many
Yes, yes.
times the first time around?
Yeah, it was actually not that great in the start. So, I mean, when I started, these were the dark ages talaga. So they weren't really very established training programs or people that could actually teach you. Luckily, the experience was good because of the friends that I was around. And I think that's usually the case naman talaga for any young person participating in a sport. So I was just really lucky to have some really good friends who, encouraged me enough and also made tukso to me enough. And, we all actually got good. I have to give a shout out to my friends in Thailand for that.
Doon ka ba nagsimula?
Yes,
On
correct.
a wakeboard sa Thailand?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So Thailand was really one of the first countries here in Asia to adopt the sport. And right now, it's Philippines and Thailand talaga that are holding the mantle as some of the best wakeboarders in the planet. So we're really, really proud of this achievement because back in the days, kami yung looking up to the guys in the magazines before who would usually be American, would usually be a European.
Yeah.
Pero now, when they see somebody there eating rice in the dock, matatakot sila na, uy, baka di tayo manalo dito.
Okay, you're a pro rider for Dup Wake out of Australia
Yes.
since 2012. What's the story there, and what is Dup Wake for those not familiar?
So Dup Wake is a wakeboard company based out of Australia. This is owned by Mr. John Coleman and Dean. So they manufacture the best wakeboards in the planet, in my opinion. And the beautiful thing about this company is that they were prioritizing areas that were not getting a lot of love in the wakeboarding scene during that period. So I'm very, very thankful with them. They helped me feel like I was legitimate in the sport. And, basically it's the biggest wakeboard brand that we have in the Philippines currently. And they've really, really contributed a lot in terms of supporting Filipinos and not quite fitting the mold athletes and giving them opportunities into the industry.
Okay, now turning your passion into a business, Deca Wakepark, tell us about its inception and also the birth of Homies Trading Incorporated.
Yes, so the first company that was born was Homies Trading Inc. We started this company with my 2 other partners, JV Tanhanko and Ron Aldover. We started this company in 2013 out of the need to try and attempt to unify the scene during that time. There was a lot of politics going on during that time. And for those who are tuned in, homies actually means parang barkada. right? So we wanted to maybe change the script a little bit in the industry and promote, friendliness and community talaga. And that's how we started by importing Dup Wake products into the country. So we went into the retail and distribution business that went really, really well for us because, we had the ability to influence the influencers, so they say. And with us being writers ourselves, we knew what the writers would want, and we knew how to get into the minds of writers all across the country. So that really helped us with the sales until we had an opportunity to actually run our own cable park, which is Deca Wakepark Clark. Deca Wakepark Clark actually has been existing since 2012. My company, the Homies, has taken on that business since 2018. So our main mark with Deca Wakepark Clark talaga is that promoting it to be one of the most accessible and world-class facilities for wakeboarding to the metro.
It's one of the main attractions now
It's
in Clark.
one of the main attractions for sure. There are many, many really good cable parks around the Philippines. I want to give a shout out to Camarines Water Sports Complex. Definitely one of the best cable parks in the Philippines. We've also got the ones in Quirino, which is also doing really good. But the closest to Manila would have to be hands down Deca Wakepark Clark. And we've been involved with all the major events, such as the SEA Games in 2019, also surviving COVID during that period. And what we're really proud of is that we're able to get past all these challenges and still continue to flourish. So, when you hear wakeboarding naman kasi talaga, it's not something that you'll pick up right away. But believe you me, when you guys do a little bit more research, we've definitely been putting in the work, and we look forward to, showing that to more Filipinos down the road.
It can be addicting. And you've been hosting international championships. We'll talk more about that. But first, we have to take this quick break. Up next, more about branding and business strategies when Trade Talks My Milyonaryo returns. Welcome back. We continue our conversation with Carlo Dela Torre. He's the CEO and operator of Deca Wakepark Clark and Homies Trading Inc. Now, Silo, you're one of the major players in developing the community and the lifestyle of cable wakeboarding. Describe it to us. How is the cable wakeboarding community here in the Philippines?
Well, it's a very big community. As of our last count, competitive wakeboarders in the Philippines is numbering around 2,500. So those are the competitive guys. Those are the guys who join the competition. This doesn't even include like the guys who just like to go there every weekend for exercise or to be there with their families or their barkada. So it's actually a pretty big industry. Right now, there are 6 major cable parks dotted around the Philippines. And this represents a huge chunk, a huge number. I think the reason the growth has been so good is that, cable parks kasi or leisure activities like these are really good for developing tourism and real estate actually. So normally, we actually also sell cable parks and do maintenance for cable parks by Rixon Cable Wake PH. And basically, we always approach real estate companies like Ayala or 8990 to help them develop real estate areas and to raise the value of the land through activities like these. That brings in families, brings in barkadas. And the same thing goes with tourism. With the tourism naman, we're normally talking to the tourism board of particular provinces or smaller LGUs. CWC is a classic example of this. They were able to turn around Camarines Sur from a very, very quiet town into one of the major players now in tourism, strictly because that they supported the sport of wakeboarding. It's also really good for tourism kasi simply because we're in the archipelago. So a lot of foreigners who live in Europe or wherever there is snow, like in Japan or Korea, they actually come here during the winter period talaga for training. And I think that's also part of the reason why Filipinos are getting good, because we're getting exposed to high-level talent, and now they're coming here now to get exposed to our talent this time around. So it's very cool to see.
It's a good relationship as
Yeah,
well.
very cool to see. It's very symbiotic, and we really look forward to seeing more and more growth through the sport of wakeboarding and cable wakeboarding, to be specific.
Deca Wakepark has hosted the World Championships, Asian Championships, and also the SEA Games.
Yes, correct.
What's it like drawing all those international competitions here in the country?
It's a lot of work. First of all, I think one of the first major competitions we did was the Southeast Asian Games. So that's dealing a lot with the government. We are, I do a lot of commentating internationally as well. So I'm very familiar with everybody in the scene. It's a big challenge to definitely hold an event where things need to be conducted fairly, and there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. But for me, the most important thing about running these competitions is giving our athletes here exposure to it. It's always a big struggle to get budget for the Philippine team. We do get a lot of help from the Philippine Sports Commission and the Olympic Committee, and through our private sector. But like I said, we have nearly 30 athletes in the national team that could possibly compete, and the expenses do add up.
Yeah.
So as much as possible, if we can bring the world into our backyard and show them the Filipino hospitality, and at the same time show our riders, access to, good competition, I think it's a win-win situation. all
How
the time.
much funding do we need for our athletes? Be honest, I want to know exactly.
As a coach, I don't think it's ever going to be enough. It's
Yeah.
always a climbing number. The higher you aspire for more accomplishments, the number always gets higher. Let's say, for example, this year we did the AO Championships. We were able to cover everything with, the Philippine team stuff with roughly. It's always a growing number. It's always complicated. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but what we're really happy about is because of this AO Championships, our riders were able to qualify for the World Games,
Very good,
which is
yes.
happening in Chengdu, China this August, right? And then on top of that, we have Southeast Asian Games at the end of the year in Bangkok. So.
Yeah. And that's what you want to do. You aim to further develop talent,
Yes.
world-class talent, and develop new riders every day.
Yes. So right now, I think we've been successful in proving that we can develop world-class talent. We've done it through several generations already. But I think right now what we're trying to do even more so is to really increase the attention of the public to sports like these. Obviously, boxing, billiards, and basketball are definitely the most popular ones, and you should definitely partake in those. Pero hindi lahat talaga matangkad, ganon, di ba? And we live in an archipelago. There's a 70% chance if you jump, you're gonna fall into water. So we might as well take advantage of it, which is also one of our initiatives in the park. Just like surfing, we want as many kids as possible to be proficient in the water. Because it's a scary thing, like we're living in an archipelago, but how many people actually know how to swim? It's actually a very, very small number talaga.
And with this sport, you don't have to be tall, right? You just have to be agile.
Yeah, well, actually, you just have to have a healthy learning attitude. That's what I like to say. And end of the day, you don't even know how to swim.
You don't have to know
because
how
you
to
actually
swim.
wear a life vest, you wear a helmet when you do this. There are coaches that are monitoring you the whole time. And most importantly, the cable park is really, really good because it's a controlled environment. Most of the time, these cable parks are man-made lakes. Very specific yung depth ng tubig, very specific yung size. And it's not like out in the nature, like, let's say, for example, surfing, which can be a little bit more dangerous because there's tides, there's wild animals,
You get
there's
pulled
huge
under.
waves. You get pulled under and such. So that's why I think that's why we've done so well in wakeboarding, I think. Is because, if you want to ride, it's just a flip of a switch and that cable will start running and you can ride it all day. And the most important thing with cable wakeboarding is it's a lot more affordable than wakeboarding behind a boat.
Definitely. And Silo, I've heard you say in one of your interviews that how the sport has helped your mental health, especially during the pandemic. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so just like any sport, any hobby, it helps you focus at the task at hand and not your bills or your problems next week. So I think this is really important. During the pandemic, we did notice, there was a boom in a lot of activities during the pandemic. Maybe your husband bought a motorbike, or maybe your uncle bought like a mountain bike.
Yeah.
We definitely had our big wave of demand rin during that period. And what we realized is that there was a lot of Filipinos, specifically people from Manila, that were cooped up in their houses, and they were just so happy to get out to open air, open water, wakeboard, focus on their tricks, so that they can focus on the rest of the grind of the week, because it's, life is a grind. It's really important lang that you are able to allocate some time for physical and mental health.
Yeah. What has the sport taught you in life?
The sport has taught me just to keep on thinking happy thoughts. Because we're doing tricks all the time. We're always aspiring to like this next trick, this next trick, this next trick.
You have to up your game.
Yes, absolutely. So you're always just elevating things. So it's nice to know that you can hit targets despite the fact that there's a possibility that you might crash or might not be able to do the trick. So as long as you don't give up, like our rider says, Rafi Trinidad, who's #2 in the world, if you fall 7 times, get up 8 times. That's his favorite quote. And, we're really proud to be part of, people's lives through sport. And, it's really good, like, in terms of, showing yourself that, you have the ability to conquer problems.
In this business, Silo, as in any business, it's very important to innovate. What are you doing to grow the business and attract more riders?
Right. So right now, there are several areas that we're targeting. So obviously, we have the federation side of things, which is the Water Ski and Wakeboard Association of the Philippines. So just trying to be better at lobbying with the PSC in terms of the requirements for our sport. Also, we're very, very aggressive with working with all the other cable parks in the community as well. Making sure that, we notice some of their talent. Okay, maybe we can develop you a little bit more. Giving them opportunities to compete abroad or outside of their cable park. And on top of that is, yes, we're always continually trying to push wakeboarding through the accomplishments of the Philippine team. And actually also helping and consulting with other cable parks on how to grow their business even further.
Right.
Whether that's through marketing, talent development, operations, maintenance, you name it. We try to stick our fingers in there to ensure the future of the sport.
Very quickly, any more competitions coming up, partnerships, future plans?
Well, right now, we just hope that the whole Philippines can tune in for the World Games, which is happening in China. We have 2 athletes that will be participating
When is this going
in there.
to be?
This is in Chengdu, China, September 21 to 27. So this is just one step short of the Olympics, which we are really, really trying hard to be part of. And then after that, which I am confident we're actually going to do good in the World Games, we're going to put the cherry on top for 2025 by trying to win the Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok, Thailand. So we're going to be sending a pretty big team over there. And very much.
Thank you for coming over, Silo. And that is today's show. Catch us again on Trade Talks, My Milyonaryo, for inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and innovators and the secrets to their success. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.